It's the weekly show about Pro AV with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's rAVe TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary. Steph and Gary.
Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. Hey Gary.
How are you doing, Steph?
You know, I'm here. I'm really tired, but I'm here. I'm gonna make it through. How are you?
Good. We're both traveling a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You were in Orlando for Enterprise Connect earlier this week. I'm in California for the Alamo E4 show. First, love to know how Enterprise Connect was. That's one of my favorite shows.
Yeah, I understand now why it was one of your favorite shows. It was so great. Like it was smaller, because it was in the Gaylord Hotel in their convention center, but everyone there was genuinely so nice. Like I have never had a better experience, like getting videos from people or interviews or anything like that, because everyone was so genuinely nice, and interesting, and like it was really great.
Any new products that you saw that are worth mentioning here?
So I don't know how new, it's like somewhat new, but Microsoft, I think, was demoing Front Row.
Yeah.
And showing how Front Row works. And I thought that was probably the coolest thing and kind of the gem of the show for me, because that's just going to be something that I think we're going to see a lot of people using, and a lot of people using very quickly. And I also saw that other people who make things that work with Microsoft would make things that were like, oh, well, we want this to work with Microsoft Front Row. Like when I went and did an interview with rAVe, they were like, oh, yes, they were talking to me about their video bar and about how something like that or a similar product, they like showed me a few different ones about how they would work with Front Row. So I feel like because everyone wanted to mention it, that it kind of was like probably the biggest thing of the show. To me.
Yeah, I would agree that Front Row is going to be a big deal. I'm going to see if I can do this really quickly so that people have an idea what we're talking about. We'll see if I can actually share my screen here. It may or may not work.
We'll find out.
Yeah, it's not working.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah, but in any case, Front Row, what they've done with Front Row is they put the participants at the bottom of the screen with the content at the top, and it requires a 21 by 9 aspect ratio screen. So the displays from Prism are going to be popular. Planar has a 21 by 9, but also projection. A lot of the applications they're showing it in are actually projection. So I think that I think that's going to be. I think that's going to be a good boom for projection in the meeting room environment, obviously.
Yes. Also, we had really lovely sponsors. So we went to the Intel booth and had a great time. They had a really nice booth, and we had a good walkthrough. A lot going on with both their Unite team and their Nook team. And then our other great sponsor was D10, and their booth was probably honestly my favorite booth of the show. Like it was so well designed, like very intuitively wanting to tell a story with each section you visited. And I really like that. I like intentional design. So I had a really good time over there as well. I think I looked at the D10-7, which was nice. Was it the D10 Me, which is kind of the personal collaboration device, but like also kind of isn't it like you can do like concierge usage with it as well? It's very cool.
Make it a virtual concierge. The D10 Me with the D10 Me Pro is the one that they're targeting to our industry. The D10 Me is more for the home use. The D10 Me Pro you can use in the home, but obviously that virtual concierge concept that you just talked about is a good example of that. But if you're not familiar with Microsoft Front Row, you should take a look, because Zoom's going to do the same thing. I'm sitting here trying to share my screen, and it's not sharing, and I think it'd be worth people seeing a picture of it. Sorry for not being prepared, but the participants at the bottom of the screen, the contents at the top of the screen, and what you do is you end up with a very wide aspect ratio image, more of an immersive concept. And for those of you who've been in the industry a while and remember the Cisco telepresence suite, it looks a lot like the telepresence suite.
Oh, yeah, it does. But yeah, I wanted to screen share just to show our microsite really quick, just to remind everyone that we are working on that. We are still populating it. We just got back from the show this morning, so it is still a work in progress, but it is ravepubs.com/EC 2022. We have a nifty little guide at the beginning here that shows you how to use the microsite, and we will begin populating with videos today. So ASAP, you'll be able to come up over here and search videos by product name and company name. And then we have all of the latest news here. We're working on more stories, and we will get those up today as well. But yeah,
how many
it's
videos
been great.
did you shoot?
Oh gosh, I don't know how many everyone else shot. I only know how many I got. I think my goal was to get between 30 and 50, and I got like 35.
Excellent. So probably 100 videos, I bet.
Yeah,
between the three
yeah. And for a smaller show, I think that's perfect, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And then I'm at E4. We had the E4 show yesterday. I did the keynote talking about experiences and how important it is for integrators to build experiences. The March E4 was yesterday. We have a May 3rd, May 3rd E4 is in Chicago. We actually shot over 50 videos yesterday here at the E4. Those will be up at ravepubs.com/E4 later this week. And there are a lot of new products here. Very
cool.
All-in-one
do you have
LEDs.
do you have a favorite that you've seen so far, or that you saw?
Let's see. What was my favorite? Probably the rAVe USB camera. They came out with the USB camera. What's interesting about what rAVe is doing is they're actually shipping a USB bridge with the camera, so that you can connect up an HDL, one of their microphone arrays, with it into one port of the computer in the room.
That's interesting. I think of them more as an audio company.
Well, it is for they want to be known as a collaboration company now, so they don't just have microphones and that microphone array with a speaker product. They also have a USB camera, and then the most impressive LED here was probably visually was any Sharp NECs all in one, but the biggest sort of one that grabs your attention was LG. They had their 138-inch all-in-one, which is on a cart, which has audio built in. It's just all those are all just plug in one HDMI cable. I'll tell you something else that looked really good. Samsung had their 8K, and it's probably 75-inch TV here or monitor. Unbelievable. There's not a whole lot of applications for 8K, and of course the content on it looks just stunning, right?
But we talked about that.
What
before.
Are you going to put on it, right? When you buy one of those, but it's just like you look at it and you're like, you get TV in me.
You're like, well, maybe I could find some content. Maybe I can make some content if it's going to look that good.
Yeah, and Epson was a sponsor of my keynote, and we used 2 brand new Epson laser projectors that were really small, but they generated 5,000 amps in lumens with these things. And I'll tell you, it's amazing to me how projectors have gotten so much better in such a short period of time.
They're just good these days, yeah.
Yeah, it's just incredible.
Speaking of other new things coming up, tell me a little bit. You've got there's a new Barco podcast series that we're doing. Yeah. So I want you to talk about that a little bit.
Well, we are doing a new series of podcasts, which I'm recording now, on meeting equity and how to build rooms with better meeting equity, where everyone either in the room or remote gets the same experience, right? That's the idea behind one of the ideas behind Microsoft Front Row and one of the ideas behind the Barco ClickShare conference. So we're doing a whole series of podcasts, and they're not a bunch of people from the industry. Like we talked on one of my podcasts, we talked to a doctor, a professor at the University of Utah who's an expert on hybrid meetings. We talked to a systems designer who's an expert at designing rooms and thinking about things more than AV, meaning thinking about acoustics, but also thinking about even shading and lighting and the control of shading and lighting during a day, right? We talk about how we're going to deal with remote participants that are on small screens versus large screens or multiple pieces of content. It's going to be a whole podcast series. We're probably going to record 12 to 14 of them.
Cool.
You'll actually be able to see where. I don't want to tell you where. We got a really cool microsite set up for it, but it's all sponsored by Barco, and those will start releasing next week, Monday or Tuesday. It'll be a whole new podcast series, and it's just me. The first of the series will be a roundtable with about 5 guests. After that, there'll be just me one-on-one with a bunch of different guests, and I look forward to releasing those next week.
I think that'll be really cool. I mean, I think I make fun of these words a lot, like meeting equity and hybrid collaboration and stuff, just because they're so overused. But like something I've kind of realized, and like something Enterprise Connect made me realize, was that these words are used for a reason. It's because like that's kind of the reality we're living in right now.
I mean, especially if you're
there's
remote.
a need for it. Yeah.
And if you're remote and you can hear people talking but can't understand them, that's going to be a big deal. That's going to be a thing that we're going to have to address. I mean,
exactly.
So meaning equity includes video, audio, and content. So it's a complicated issue. But what about the big news this morning? Woke up to some big news.
Like,
Crestron acquired.
Very thankful for Megan Dutta right now, because I was like coming from the plane and she was like, hey, we got some breaking news, but let me post it. I got it. And I was like, oh, thank you. So yes, Crestron is going to acquire One Beyond. So
and they make USB cameras and microphones and collaboration devices. So that means that Crestron's even deeper in that segment of the market. And this is their first acquisition since Dan Feldstein took over. They haven't made an acquisition of a company in a long time. This might signal a future for them in growing through acquisitions. I mean, it's been at least 10 years. At least 10 years. I can't remember.
I was like, I don't remember ever writing about any acquisitions while I've been here. So yeah, wow. Yeah,
so this gives them a stronger foothold in the collaboration market. Obviously, that's a segment they see. So, you know, they obviously attacked the AV over IP market very aggressively. Now they're attacking the collaboration market very aggressively. So, you know, people are going to notice that. Now, One Beyond's not a giant player right now.
Sure.
But they are a significant player.
Right. I agree. Well, speaking of like playing in multiple markets, we have a message from our sponsor, Shure, coming up right quick.
All right.
The first conference calls were simple. One person talks, everyone listens, end of discussion. As things progressed, companies tried the latest tools for connecting. Then, video conferencing exploded. More people, more rooms, more microphones. But without proper processing, added mics added issues. Echo, noise, too loud, too quiet. Digital signal processing hardware helped, but the cost and complexity confined great calls to C-suite spaces. What about everyone else? We could see each other, but could anyone understand what was being said? The audio revolution has arrived. Introducing IntelliMix Room, the first audio processing software for Windows 10 PCs optimized for Shure conferencing microphones. Rather than having to unbox and install multiple DSP units, simply download and deploy software to in-room devices in seconds. Requiring no messy cables, additional hardware, or bloated AV racks, more time and budget opens up to outfit more spaces. IntelliMix Room works seamlessly with the most popular conferencing platforms, reducing echoes, eliminating background noise, and delivering crystal clear calls. Thanks to decades of Shure audio expertise, the days of complex DSP hardware end with a simple download.
So I was able to get, during the commercial, I was able to get a picture pulled up of Front Row so you can kind of see how it works with all the participants in the meeting. And then the content is up top, and then you have the chat over on the sides. But yeah, I think that looks really good. It looks very clean.
Yeah, and if you could see, it's a wider screen there. It's 21:9 aspect ratio is the requirement for that. So yeah, it's a different way of building rooms, right? It's another opportunity for our industry. And
I like how clean, how it like pulls people off of their backgrounds, because I do think like backgrounds can be distracting sometimes. So I think it looks really good.
Yeah, the AI that's being used to do that is pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, no, it's great. I'm excited to see more for sure. So another thing I wanted to talk about is we had a study that came out from Poly last week. I had Katie Clark read it, and she wrote all of her thoughts about it, which is just about Poly study, and it's on the importance of meeting equality to long-term hybrid work strategies. And so she did an overview of it, and basically it's about how hybrid is here. It's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. And basically, a lot of employers, if they weren't already, they're starting to realize that they need to invest in opportunities to make hybrid work a thing for their employees. So it's not necessarily something we didn't know, but I think it's good to have research like this to back up the things that we already know about our industry.
Yeah, and Poly does a good job of releasing research like this, and of course they're only going to release research that benefits them. But really, right now, all of the research is going to benefit anyone that's making products in that category.
Any UCC, this is the research is going to benefit you for sure.
Yeah. So I wrote a story about the new Epson 4K laser projector for your home. And
we were just talking about Epson projectors. One. Yeah. I figured you did. I almost kind of thought you'd already had one.
No. It's a 4K projector. Now it's using the 4K pixel shifting technology. It's 3 LCD though, but it's Epson does a really good job with that, what they call enhanced pixel shifting or something like that,
right.
Or but it doesn't look like it's doing that. I mean, it looks like 4K on all the higher end products. Well, this is their first high end home theater projector using that, but it's a very small form factor, right? It's about this. It's about this big, and for your home. Oops, I hit my computer there. And for your home, for home theaters and home applications like that, I don't know. I like 3 LCD. My home theater has a Sony 3 LCD projector. I would have a hard time going to DLP because I don't like the highly saturated colors. I like the 3 LCD look. So I'm very intrigued by this product from Epson. I'm curious because, my Sony has some of the best video processing in the world. I mean, like this particular projector I have, which I can't remember exactly what the model is, a VPL, maybe 10X or something, but it's got the best video processing I've ever seen in a projector. And of course, it's built for home theaters. And Epson, they've made huge strides. I mean, they have the best raw component LCD, but they haven't had the best video processing. So they've made some huge strides in video processing over the last few years. So I'm sure it looks great. Yeah.
I'm excited to see it. If you get it, you'll have to let me know what you think.
Well, I definitely want to take a look at it. I mean, because my current is 1080. And of course, I have 4K NV.
Yeah, for sure. Well, next up, we have a white paper from rAVe, our other sponsor. And I do appreciate that Legrand, we've talked about how they're a glue company, but they're also a company that really stresses the importance of education and also just kind of adding white papers that add value to AV. So this is their Amazing AV Experiences Education issue, which is basically, it's kind of a white paper e-magazine, and it's designed to create experiences for K-12 and higher ed. So this is kind of just on more of that hybrid, high flex, everything that we've been talking about, Gary, distance learning environments. This is all about their advice and what they say and ways to connect instructors and students from anywhere, because this obviously is not going away anytime soon. So to go and look at the e-magazine, you can just flip through it right here. If you are watching via LinkedIn, we will drop a link so that you can see it for yourself and get all of this, because they also have a lot of data that backs it up. And of course, the data is going to be data that helps them, but if you're in UCC at all, the data that's just out there is going to help you. That's just how it is. So it's really good. It's really interesting. And I like that this is kind of geared toward our education audiences, because they're also trying to figure out how to make hybrid work for classrooms right now.
Yeah. So that article from Hope Roth that's on our website of everything you want to know about the chip shortage.
We've had a lot of articles about the chip shortage lately, which I am happy about. I would rather have a lot of people looking at this from different angles and a lot of people talking about it, because this is what people have asked about. This is what people have asked us in particular. Hey, can you write an article? Is someone writing an article from this angle? Is someone writing an article from this angle? So hers does go with Sarah Abrams, because Sarah Abrams' article that she posted last month was really in depth about the way that chips are made. And this is particularly kind of a wrap up of we thought products were made in America. So why is there a shortage when these are made overseas? So it's kind of just explaining why this is affecting us in the ways that it is, why things are costing more, when will this end, will it ever end, and how else will this possibly create chaos in the industry in the next year. So it's a good overview.
And I've been talking to some of the bigger manufacturers in the industry over the last week about the chip shortage specifically to get an update. The last time I talked to them was in November. And they're all saying about the same thing, that we're going to see product shortages for at least another year and a half. That the chip shortage might slow down and might have less problems, but the product shortages will continue because to catch up, it takes a while. So it's not something that's going to go away. That doesn't mean you're not going to have product out there. It doesn't mean there's not going to be availability. You're just going to have to be fluid in figuring out which products and brands that you decide to use.
Yeah, I agree. And it really is just going to have to be maybe you're not going to get your first pick of something, and you're just going to have to be really flexible about what you're imagining to go in an area that you're specifying. So,
yeah. And I want to mention a big thank you to Intel and D10 for covering or for sponsoring our coverage of the Enterprise Connect show so that we could go cover it with the team we brought down there, including Steph. Steph, by the way, why are you advertising your competition right there with that Harvard shirt? You went to Columbia.
Everyone always asks me that. This is just a really comfortable sweatshirt.
You went to the best journalism school in the world, and you're advertising Harvard of all places.
Please don't ask me questions. This is my emotional support sweatshirt that I wear on planes. It's just really big and comfy. And my Columbia one, I got my hair dyed when I was wearing it, and it has bleach all over it now. So this one's in better shape.
Okay, I guess there's your answer.
There's your answer. One of life's greatest mysteries. Yep. Well, this has been an episode of rAVe TV. So Gary, I will see you when you're back from California. I'll see you next Wednesday. And I'm looking forward to it. All right, looking forward to it. Sounds good. We will see all of you next week, noon Eastern. You know what it is. This has been another episode of rAVe TV. Bye.
It's the weekly show about Pro AV with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's rAVe TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary. Steph and Gary.